Have you ever picked up your phone intending to check it for 5 minutes and suddenly 3 hours have vanished? Yet, when you sit down with a textbook, making it through a single page can feel like an agonizing struggle. It is easy to blame yourself for this. You might assume you lack discipline or that you are simply too lazy to do the work. But that is entirely inaccurate. When you are glued to a feed, you are not actually experiencing deep focus. You are engaging in rapid attention switching. Every few seconds, a new image, sound, or topic appears. Your brain does not have to hold on to any difficult ideas. It only has to react. Looking at this logic model, you can see the difference. On the left, scrolling is just a linear stream of easy, isolated reactions. But studying, shown on the right, is sustained cognitive work. It forces you to hold new information in your working memory, the mental space where you actively process ideas, and slowly connect it to things you already know. Because these two activities rely on entirely opposing mental architectures, spending hours in a reactive state trains your brain to expect constant stimulation. The modern digital environment is systematically untraining your capacity for deep, sustained work. The main engine behind this constant stimulation is the variable reward. This chart maps out exactly how it works. You swipe, you might get a highly entertaining video or a funny message, and so you swipe again. Because the emotional payoff is entirely unpredictable, your brain stays hooked, continually hunting for the next hit. And as this loop expands infinitely downward, you see another structural trap, the removal of natural stopping points. A book chapter has an end. A board game has a finish line. A digital feed does not. In an open-ended environment like this, the only way to stop is by using sheer willpower. This frictionless digital environment stands in sharp contrast to studying, which requires managing memory, logic, and self-control. This creates a high level of mental effort, while the reward, a good grade or a new skill, is often weeks or months away. When you consume media in 10 or 20-second bursts, your brain adapts to that rapid pace. You begin to expect immediate answers and rapid emotional shifts as the default state of reality. So when a math problem takes 10 minutes to solve and feels agonizingly slow, the task has not become harder. Your baseline expectation for novelty has simply been hijacked. Over time, your phone becomes an automatic escape hatch from discomfort. The moment you read a confusing paragraph, your hand hesitates and then instinctively reaches for the device to relieve the mental friction. This harmless-looking reflex carries a heavy cognitive penalty known as attention residue. This pie chart represents your total cognitive capacity. Watch what happens when you shift focus from your book to a message on your phone, and then try to go back. The transition is not clean. Pieces of your attention remain attached to the previous task you just checked. With your working memory now divided, that original paragraph feels significantly more difficult to read. You might assume you simply lack focus, leading you to check your phone again, fracturing your attention even further. Experiencing this struggle does not mean you lack intelligence. It is the direct result of repeated micro-interruptions, draining your cognitive resources until deep thought becomes impossible. To break this cycle, you have to rethink how you start a study session. The first 10 minutes of study are often the most difficult because mental resistance is highest before you actually engage. You do not need to wait for a surge of motivation to begin. You only need enough willingness to take a small first step. Your brain will naturally resist vague, overwhelming tasks. Instead of telling yourself to generally study, you must define the work by an action, a quantity, and a specific topic. Translating a massive goal into a precise target, like solving 10 kinematics equations, removes the friction of figuring out where to begin. Your first hour after waking influences the rest of the day. Starting with high novelty scrolling trains the brain to expect that same intensity from every task that follows, making slower academic work feel less attractive by comparison. Rather than checking your device whenever a notification pings, create intentional phone windows. Plan to look at your screen only after breakfast or immediately following a study block. You decide when to check, taking authority away from the device. Willpower is a finite resource that depletes rapidly. Long-term focus requires engineering a physical environment where your phone is completely out of reach, ensuring that choosing to work demands zero self-control. Here is how you can put all of this into practice with a single, highly effective study block. First, select one specific task. Next, place your phone in another room entirely. Finally, set a timer for 30 minutes. During those 30 minutes, avoid passive reading. Instead, use active recall. As you see here, shutting a textbook and forcing yourself to write out what you remember creates the necessary mental challenge to lock in new information. When an urge to check a message or look something up inevitably hits, do not act on it. Keep a piece of distraction paper nearby. Write the thought down and immediately return to your task. If the urge to quit feels overwhelming, use the 1 more minute rule. Promise yourself you will stay with the discomfort for just 60 more seconds. This slowly trains your brain to tolerate academic friction. When the timer sounds, record your completed output to give your brain a visible, immediate sense of progress. Then take a 5-minute break to stretch or drink water. Do not look at a screen. A good break restores attention. It does not capture it. The goal is not to conquer a lifetime of distraction in a single afternoon. Your focus is not permanently broken. It has simply been trained by what you repeatedly do. You can rebuild your attention span, and it starts by winning one solitary 30-minute block.